Brian Young back out there for the bottom half of the second inning. His offense had runners in scoring position in the top half of this inning, but could not score. Look at the crowd, a healthy one at that, on a beautiful, beautiful Thursday evening to kickstart the month of August. Summer coming to a close alongside the NECBL season. We will crown a winner over the next 9 days. It starts here. It's a 2-1 lead for the Mountaineers at home. You look at their championship banners on your screen, 2006 and 2007. And it was 8 years between them and their next one. They did make it back to the finals in 2022, led by Mitch Holmes. They lost to this Sharks team. They're now looking to make it back. As it'll be 7, 8, and 9, 2 up in this second inning. It starts with Johnny Knox, and for Brian Young, you're looking to get a quick inning.
Yeah, you've got to match the dominance of Nick Falter in that second inning, and of course you give up the double to Hakopian. You almost can't beat yourself up for that because Hakopian hits everyone hard. Brian Young wants to go back out there now, pick up some strikeouts.
It was two eerily similar doubles that you mentioned, Luke, back in that first inning. Led off by Tyler Gannis, and then Brennan Hyde had one as well. Johnny Knox does have 2 doubles on the summer. You look at him on your screen. He spent the last few years with the Nichols Bison alongside Brennan Hyde. Those two were kind of a 1-2 punch for one of the best D3 schools in the nation. This one in foul territory. A nice running effort from Will Lybrook from the first base position, but it goes out of, or it goes near the bench of the Vermont bullpen.
Yeah, it's essentially out of play. Once you get over to that bullpen area, they've got equipment strewn all over the place. None of the bullpen arms down there just yet. All hanging out in the dugout still. But you're right, a nice effort from Lybrook there.
Was a nice effort from a guy that normally plays catcher at first base. All 3 catchers in the lineup for Martha's Vineyard, and they all hit the ball pretty well. Knocks over, rolls one over, and gets under both the glove of Reese Robinette and Chris Hakopian. A poking single for Johnny Knox. Now some speed on first to start this second inning.
Vermont is just continuing to go to work with the bats. That's just a perfectly placed ground ball that sneaks under the glove of Robinette and then Chris Hakopian out into left field, and nothing you can really do there. Just soft contact in the right place, and that does the job just as much as a hard hit single.
So here comes the Wofford Terrier, Andrew Manley. Again, a late addition for Vermont, similar to Brennan Hyde. He's 7 for 37, hitting at a 175 clip over the back half of this season. He takes a strike at the knees, 0-1. Manley and Hyde are 2 guys that if you're Mitch Holmes, you want them to get going. Manley, again, just the 7 hits, but he's driven in 7 runs. He's got 2 big hits. He had a home run on the road against Upper Valley to help secure the Governor's Cup for the 3rd straight season for the Vermont Mountaineers. That was just this past Sunday. And then you go back and look at his double, his other extra base hit. That was part of a 8-run 9th inning comeback for the Mountaineers over the Bristol Blues. He walked it off with a 3 RBI double as Johnny Knox quickly gets back towards first. Almost a beautiful move from Brian Young on the mound to get the base runner.
It was a beautiful move. Brian Young has a ton of pickoffs this year. If that ball was just a little bit higher when it hit William Lybrook in the glove, I think you would have had him.
1-1 pitch, clips the outer third, 1-2 with nobody gone in this bottom of the second inning. Manley had a great year for the Terriers this past spring, a 301 average, 50 runs driven in off the back of 9 doubles and 7 home runs. He was even better in the NCAA tournament. He was named to the Chapel Hill Regional All-Tournament team, as this one's chopped off the inside of the bat. No double play opportunity for Tristan McClatty. He'll take the force out for Andrew Manley at first, but that does move Johnny Knox into scoring position.
Moving base runners along, same thing as that first inning. Vermont, this is why they're so tough to beat. You talked about how they approach at-bats, Josh, when they have runners on base. And that's something that's going to win you games. And it's not all about, driving a ball over the wall. Even though this ballpark goes shorter.
This one pulled towards the opposite field. It's going to get down. Casey Bishop will have extra bases. And now it's 3-1 for Vermont as Johnny Knox comes across home. And just like that, Vermont extends the lead. A little shimmy on second for Casey Bishop, who gets his 6th double of the summer.
That's just more of the same. Taking the pitch that's there for you to hit it and then taking advantage. You know, Brian Young has messed up the timing of hitters so often this season that guys really can't find their pitch. But this Vermont lineup just locks in on guys. And I think it's a credit to Mitch Holmes and the coaching staff, who obviously do a tremendous job of scouting these guys and coming up with an attack plan. And more often than not this season, it's worked.
Gannis takes the pitch high, 1-0. You go back to Vermont with runners not just in scoring position, but just on base in general, hitting .309 this entire summer, 16 home runs, and 228 RBIs. RBI number 229 just came across to score. And this is the thing with Vermont. When they get going, when they're hot, they can put up numbers and runs in bunches, and so far it looks like they're on pace to do that today.
Well, you know, the thing is as well, when you see a guy who's hitting .308 with runners in scoring position, you say, wow, that's a phenomenal player. These guys are doing it as a team. And to have that up and down your lineup, I think it just instills so much confidence in these guys to take smart at-bats, because they don't feel like they have to break off a big chunk if they are down. They can just continue to work at it and continue to follow the game plan that Mitch Holmes has set out for them. And that's just another facet of what's made them so successful this season. And, you know, the reason why the Sharks have to play them here today is the 8th seed.
Well, Mitch Holmes and his pitching coach, Steve Boley, are big components of the 1-0 versus the 0-1 pitch, as Tyler Gannis in a 2-1 count fouls one down the right field line, 2-2. They have talked about the difference not just between for the pitchers in a 1-0 versus an 0-1 count, but for their hitters as well. And they have challenged both of them to try and go out there and get ahead in a count. Obviously, if you're the hitter, you want to get ahead 1-0. As a pitcher, 0-1, and that's allowed for them to have the best offense in the NECBL and the best pitching staff up until the last day of the season. The only team in the NECBL to have a team ERA below 4, and now sits at 4 flat. But when you only give up 4 runs a game and you're averaging over 6.5, you're having a pretty good summer.
Yeah, and great teams, they love stuff like that, because, you know, they know that when they continue to stick to their philosophies, the wins are going to come. So when you can hang your hat on a number like that, that instills a lot of pride as an organization. And I'm sure that Mitch Holmes reminded them, hey, you know, you kept that ERA just above 4 instead of below 4. And, you know, great teams, when they're good, they push to be better.
They're pushing to be better right now, pushing to put that run total at 4. Casey Bishop stands 180 feet away. Tyler Gannis putting up a good fight. This one's slowly chopped towards short. Going to be a tough play for Akopi, and he eats it. And there'll be an infield single for Tyler Gannis. 2 for 2 on the day for the Northwestern outfielder. Now runners on the corners with just 1 gone.
Oh, Brian Young's generating soft contact, but a lot of the times it's been too soft. A little spinners off the end of the bat on the infield that guys have to come way in to get. And right there with Akopian playing back on the end of the dirt, he has to make his way all the way up to near the pitching rubber to field that ball. By the time he gets there, a speedy guy on in Gannis, he's got no chance at first.
Well, it's a small sample size, but Vermont already putting up drastically better numbers than they did in last year's NECBL playoffs. In a 2-game sweep where they got outscored 23-3 against the Danbury Westerners. They had just 7 hits in those 2 games for a measly 113 average. They already have matched the total amount of runs that they scored that entire series today through just an inning and a third. They're looking to do more damage with Josiah Ragsdale, the future Boston College Eagle, in the left-handed batter's box. 1-1 pitch off speed, pushed out towards left field. That one stays fair and rolls towards the wall. It'll be another extra base hit for the Mountaineers. Gannis puts on the brakes at third. Another stand-up double number 4 already for Vermont.
And now you've got to think about getting your bullpen going if you're the Sharks, because this is a really close to a win-or-go-home situation. You're going to see Ryan Miller out to the mound, the head coach and pitching coach for these Vineyard Sharks, and it looks like that bullpen is getting active. Colby McNeely is up and moving, but you just don't have another choice. You lose today, and you're playing for your season tomorrow. And Brian Young, although he's had a phenomenal season for the Sharks, it'll all be for naught if he can't figure things out here.
Well, again, like you mentioned, there's been weak contact the majority of the time. The problem is there's so much speed in this Vermont team. You look what they've done on the base pass so far this entire summer as a whole. 125 stolen bases. That would have been best in the NECBL if not for the Sanford Mainers, a team currently playing the Keene Swamp Bats in the first round of these NECBL playoffs. If those Mainers didn't set an NECBL record with over 140 this summer. Infield playing in with Johnny Lutzo up for the second time. He got the party started today for Vermont with an RBI ground out, which tied the game, and then the rest of the lineup came through for Mitch Holmes' squad. 0-1 clips the outside corner. A nice pitch at 89 from Brian Young. Perhaps that pitching meeting doing him some justice. Be a big second out with 2 runners in scoring position. With the Santa Clara product looking to get on base. This one chopped up the middle. It might score a run. Hakopi in a tough throw. Sidearm gets Lutzo in time, but 2 productive groundouts today for Johnny Lutzo, and now it's 5-1 Vermont. And they put up a big crooked number 3 across in the second inning.
That's a great play from Chris Hakopi at shortstop, though. Gets over to that ball, makes a nice clean transition from the glove to the hand, and fires a strike over to Liebert at first.
Well, you're just 1 out away from getting out of this inning. For Martha's Vineyard, Brian Young pumps in a strike at the knees to Tyler Cox. Talked about how Vermont was struggling at the end of the season last year with just 7 hits in their 2-game series. Tyler Cox had 1 of those 7 hits. He was 1 for 7. As he flies one out towards right field. Moving to his left is Griffin Mills. He'll make the grab for out number 3. But 3 runs come across for the Mountaineers in the bottom of the second. They're up by 4, and the Sharks look to try and respond here on ESPN+.
So now we're going to get a player of the game interview with Vermont. Josh, I'm going to let you take over. It's going to be Max Jensen doing the interview. Take it away.
Absolutely. Max, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. So, Max, a 9th win in a row, tying a program record set back in 2016 and 2022. What are the vibes like right now on this win streak?
Vibes are high. Guys are having fun. I think that's a big part of why we're winning games. Guys show up to the park ready to play. Guys are being really loose, having fun, and it shows. And in a close game like that, I don't think anyone had any doubts. I think we're playing loose, trusting our guys, and obviously the staff's rolling right now. 3 shutouts in the last 4 games.
Yeah, we'll talk about that pitching too. 3 shots in the last 4 games. How does it feel as a hitter when you see your pitching go out there and just dominate night in and night out?
It feels really good. Obviously, we know we know we can hit the ball around. We know we can hit the ball around. You see the guys having fun being loose right now. We know we can hit the ball around, but having that confidence in our staff that when we put runs on the board for them to keep runs off the board, it's a 2-way street. We help them, they help us, and it's really a big part of the win streak.
See some high knees going on in the background, and someone that's having a lot of fun has got to be you, Max. A league-leading 16-game hitting streak. You extended it tonight. What are you seeing up there at the plate? Does the ball just look like a beach ball sometimes?
Like I said, it's the same for me as it is for the entire team. I mean, being loose, having fun, keeping a slow load, and letting myself see the ball. Obviously, I feel good right now, but it's easy when you got a group of guys around you who are really excited to win, really excited to play ball, and it's a great team to be around, and it's helped me a lot.
All right, well, I appreciate your time, Max, and go enjoy the jousting match going on behind you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you saw post-game interview, Max Jensen, Mountaineers having fun and